Sorry, let me turn this
So
recorder on.
no
Okay.
worries. So it's a comedy drama, right? So it's
Uh-huh.
with Rosie. It's the idea is that she wakes up one day and realizes that she has all these vices and sort of addictions, and she decides that she's going to give it all up after an embarrassing night at her brother's wedding, and there's a some family drama going on. So she decides she's going to give up all her problems and her vices and her bad habits,
Okay.
of which my character Robert is
Uh-huh.
one of her bad habits. He's a guy at work who she's got some benefits with,
Okay.
and so yeah, I'm sort of there like a lot of the guys in the show to sort of enable some of her problems. Really, I think Robert really likes Rosie and genuinely cares about her, but the fact that she has a drink at lunchtime or really suits the relationship they have going on, because it
Okay.
means she's likely to be a bit more free and do some stuff that she shouldn't really do. So Robert's kind of one of those habits that she should maybe deal with and knock on the head, as we like to say over here. But but
Uh-huh.
at the same time, I think what's really clever about Susan Nixon's writing is that Rosie, I don't think Robert's a real big deal to her. He's just another guy around. But I think for Robert, he's kind of, he's got a lot of swagger and a lot of kind of northern kind of swagger. It's all set in Manchester in the north of England. Um, and I think that really Robert kind of likes her a lot. And I think if she was to turn around and be like, hey, actually I'm ready for a boyfriend, he'd be like, oh, um, he's
Uh-huh.
that
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, no, go on.
Okay.
He's that kind of dude. So I think it's been a lot of fun to play. Sheridan and I worked together 20 years ago on a comedy, and so it's amazing to be able to work together again. And that was also written by Susan Nixon. So it's been a pleasure doing this.
Okay. Okay. And so just to be able to reconnect again, I know that probably
Oh
went,
yeah,
yeah, that was,
yeah. I mean, we've known each other since we were like in our late teens,
hmm
and we both started in the industry, and uh, and the fact that we got an opportunity to work together back in 2004, 2005, and then now, sort of 16 years later or whatever, we're doing something together again is a lot of fun. It's the same writer, as I say, which is just amazing because it feels like a little family get together.
hmm
Um, and it's a wonderful production house, Hartswood Films, making it for Sky, and they made shows like Sherlock with Benedict Cumberbatch and
Yes.
Martin Freeman. So
Okay.
it was a real honor for me to work with them. They were on my list of people I'd love to work with, and they absolutely didn't disappoint in any way.
hmm
Elaine Cameron, who's the exec producer over at Hartswood Films, and then Sarah Fraser. They just created this atmosphere that was just so much fun and
Okay.
and it's conducive for to an environment where you want to create comedy. It's if you're relaxed, you can
Right.
play and you can make it fun.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, it was good. It was a good time, a really good.
Okay. And that's a series you said over there. It's a
Yeah, it's
series.
a six-parter, and it started last Wednesday on Sky
Okay.
Comedy over here, which is one of our like pay-per-view channels, and it's going to run for 6 episodes, but also you can get it to download and stream the lot. And we've had some really lovely reviews over here in
Okay.
England, and so
Okay.
it's been a fun show.
All
Yeah.
right. The question I was wondering is, can we get it over here if we wanted to watch it or?
Yeah, I think I'm sure there'll be a sale at some point. I'm sure there'll
Okay.
be something. I'm not sure when that will be. And
Okay.
it's the same for Christmas Carol because Sky's a big network over here, big sort of pay-per-view network, and so
hmm
they have a lot of export shows,
Okay.
and it's very similar for Christmas Carol. It's a very sort
Okay.
of uh,
That's I'm
good
sorry, that's what
fun.
I wanted to ask you about
Yeah,
next.
go for it,
Christmas
Joe.
time. Before I ask you about Christmas
Yeah.
Carol, I wanted to ask what is your favorite thing about Christmas or holiday season? What is your favorite thing you like to do or something about
Well,
it?
this year is the first time that my wife and I have a little boy. So
Uh-huh.
it's his first Christmas. Ambrose, he'll be 10 months by the time, we
Oh,
get
okay.
around to it. Um, but I mean, for me, it's like there's so many lovely things that I like about Christmas, and I've been really lucky to, in past years, be away just after Christmas in time for New Year. but I love London at Christmas time. The lights in the West End of London, and if it's a and also I like the cold weather. You know, like I'm a bit
Yeah.
crazy like that. I like wrapping up in an. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I think you can dress better in cold weather. That's what
Right.
it is.
Okay. It's some nice
Um,
styles in cold weather. I do like
that's
it too,
it.
but for a
And
short time.
that's it. Just for a little while. I don't want it too
Yes.
long. But we've just had some snow, so it feels like it might be a white Christmas over here. We
Okay.
don't. That's not very common, but it might be.
Okay.
Um, but it's you know it's like with everyone. I think it's families, it's get-togethers. You know, it's really
Mhm.
lovely. I've got quite a big family, and it's nice to get everyone together. My brother-in-law is a chef, so he works really hard, and so he and my sister are going to take the day off. So Christmas, we're actually going to go out for dinner. My wife and my sister
Okay.
and her husband and our kids, our
Oh,
little ones. So we're
so
going to
that's
go out for
yeah.
Christmas lunch. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
it'd
gonna
be
be
nice.
nice. Yeah. So now I wanted to ask you that to segue into the movie, the holiday
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
Can you tell us about it? And
yeah.
your character and what are you playing, you know? And
Absolutely.
let me ask you this. I don't know if you watch some of these Lifetime movies over here or the holiday
Uh,
movies on Hallmark or whatever.
oh yeah.
They have this music behind. You guys have music behind your movies too, or you know how
Oh yeah, of course.
okay.
I know the holiday season music. I know these ones. I mean, I auditioned for a Hallmark movie a little while back, one of these Christmas movies. In fact, my one of my good friends, Sophie Hopkins, who's in the movie I just did in the summer,
Uh-huh.
she's in one of these Christmas movies at the moment that's just dropped. Um, but yeah, the Christmas Carol is a bit like that, but it's got that kind of it's a bit more of a roller coaster in that it's first of all it's a brilliant script written by Anil Gupta and Richard Pinto, who are really great British writers over here, and the premise behind this one
Mm-hmm.
a bit like is that it's a modern reworking of A Christmas Carol, and
Mm-hmm.
it's about a young businesswoman called Carol McKay who's created this kind of online store where at Christmas time everyone buys her sort of cheap plastic stuff, and it
Okay.
creates lots of problems for landfill, and it's tacked, it's worth nothing, but it
Mm-hmm.
makes a lot of money. And she's got this kind of Ebenezer Scrooge heart of stone with all the money she's got.
Okay.
And so it's mirroring that kind of Christmas Carol narrative with the three ghosts coming to
Mm-hmm.
visit them and the story of redemption. But we're very like Scrooged, which I grew up watching. I loved Scrooge with Bill Murray. I grew up watching this movie and thinking, like I liked how it was a comment on it, but he was really aware of the narrative, and it was all of and actually the play within a play where they're also
Okay.
making the TV film version of
Uh-huh.
the Dickens classic, and in our one, um, we're very aware of the narrative. In fact, it's mentioned a bunch of times. There's a lovely moment between her brother and her where he tries to sort of reach her by giving her the book, which you'll be able to see. But yeah, and it's a kind of it's just so British. Like the way it's been done by these lovely writers is that
Mm-hmm.
the ghosts in our piece are like the ghosts of Christmas entertainment, past, present, and
Okay.
future.
Okay.
So they've got these kind of like British icons of like TV and the history of TV in our country. So the ghosts of Christmas past are a double act called Morecambe and Wise, who were
Okay.
this like big double act through the 70s and 80s. And so these two guys play them. And so
Mm-hmm.
they come as the ghost. And then we have a, a kind of national treasure playing the ghost of Christmas present, and a sort of up and coming national treasure playing the ghost of Christmas future. So
Okay.
it's really neatly done.
Uh-huh.
Um, I play a guy called Barry Sage, who is an American, a Californian takeover boss. Kind
Oh,
of,
okay.
yeah, he's got that kind of, I don't know, like the company is supposed to be a kind of very modern, kind of cool company, and he and his
Mm-hmm.
business partner, Ashok Kumar, played by a lovely actor, Danny Ashok. We're business partners, and we're interested in Carol McKay's company, so we're thinking about buying
Right.
her world up in it. So
Okay.
it's not a character that's directly reflected in the Dickens classic. It's a
Uh-huh.
modern twist. But but it was good fun. It was a lot of fun. I get to play a bit of a kind of very, very, glossy white teeth, very sort of like coiffed kind of Californian
Okay.
guy.
Yes.
Um, and it was good. It was a lot of fun.
Oh,
Saran Jones is a wonderful actress and lovely to work with, and we had a
mhm.
lot of fun. We had a lot of fun
Okay.
making it.
It sounds like some of the movies sound similar, but I don't know if you've seen this movie. I was trying to find the name of it when you were talking about it. It's on Apple TV, and I don't know if let me see if I could.
Spirited, is it? Spirited?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely. Yeah,
what I was. I started to try to watch a little bit of that. When you were talking about it, that's what came to my mind was Spirited. Yeah.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
but I don't know. Are you singing in this movie?
There's no singing in our one.
Okay.
There's no singing in ours.
All
Well,
right.
actually, I tell a lie. There is
Mhm.
a little bit of singing, but it's not a. It's yeah. It's not any singing I'm doing,
Okay.
but there is a tiny little moment.
Mhm.
But it's good. It's a real roller coaster, and it's a beautiful TV movie. I think it's going to be a bit of a little British classic for Sky,
Okay.
and I'm sure you'll be able to catch it
Okay,
overseas.
good, good, good.
It's
'Cause I was gonna
it's a
make
good
sure I
fun.
tell all our readers to
Yeah,
catch these movies. And
absolutely.
the last thing before we go, can you just tell me a little bit about how you got started in the industry?
Yeah,
Just a little information. If you, I know we don't have a lot of time, but if you can,
of
just
course. Yeah, of course. I mean, look, I'm one of these rare ones where I didn't go to drama school at
okay.
this particular age. So I um I started acting when I was a teenager, just where the teachers at school were like, I think you're pretty good and you should try and do some plays. And actually, I did an open audition for a musical in London in the West End. I just went along to an open call
Mm-hmm.
and and somehow got in, went and did like Oliver in the West End. And I was young, but I was a teenager. I was one of the older kids in it. I was like 15. Most
Mm-hmm.
kids were a little bit younger. I always looked young. And then actually my big break in the UK, as a result, it got me an agent, a kid's agent. But my big break in the UK was doing a soccer show. I did Nickelodeon's first UK comedy drama.
Okay.
And so we had Keenan and Kel and Sabrina and all these kind
Really?
of like really cool
Mm-hmm.
shows. And
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden they were like, we're going to make an English show. And it was a show about this five-a-side soccer team who were just really bad at soccer.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
was called Renford Rejects.
Okay.
I played the captain of that team, and we ran it for 4 years. It was nominated for a BAFTA. And then as a result, I went on and did some other serial dramas. I did a soap for a while in the UK, and then films and TV, and yeah. So I've been lucky. I've been lucky. I'm always learning. I never stop learning. I still do classes now and train, which is more similar to the US style of acting. In
Okay.
England, people sort of do drama school and they stop and then they just go and work.
Okay.
And for me, I have an acting coach that I still work with, and
Mm-hmm.
a really wonderful acting coach, and I'm much more influenced, I think, by some of the US system and the US actors that I've worked with. I've been really
Okay.
lucky over the years to work with some fantastic American
Mm-hmm.
directors and actors.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and
Yeah, yeah, and then so like I said, sometimes people do some people just do very well without even having acting, classes or
oh
something like that,
yeah,
be able to just jump right into it. But like I say, you still look very young. You do have a
slight
yeah.
baby face. Yeah, I mean the thing is, I think there's if you're going to be a star, for example, it really is about the personality that you exude. And I'm not saying that I'm as interested in that. Really, I've got to say, like, I'm much more interested in acting the what would they call the protean style of acting, which is this kind of, it's named after the Greek god of many forms. The idea that you
Okay.
can sort of disappear into the role and become something else, and I'm much more interested in this. And over the years, I've played a lot of Americans. In
Hmm.
fact, probably one of the things that your readers and stuff will be really interested in, maybe more than the British shows, because in case they don't get them for a while. But I just did a really lovely independent American film this
Hmm.
summer uh,
Okay.
uh, that I played the lead in, and the film was called The King of, and it's a film by a wonderful Israeli director called Emil Ben Shimon, who's done very very well out of Israel. His first film won the equivalent of the Academy Award,
Mhm.
and he had some stuff at Toronto and everything. And
Okay.
it's The King of is a film about a New Yorker, Rob Ryan, who in the 80s set up a company in California in Silicon Valley.
Mm-hmm.
He was Intel's like top engineer, tech engineer. He won engineer of the year back in the 80s, and so he set up his own company along with his wife Terry, who was a lawyer, and some business partners, and he created a company called Ascend.
Mm-hmm.
And what Rob did was at the point where the internet was kind of a fad, like it was, the military were using it for emails and stuff, and emails were being used by internet providers, and some gaming, not gaming like we have now, but there was some gaming. Um, and it looked like the whole thing was going to fall down like a house of cards because um,
Mm-hmm.
essentially internet service providers were losing money when they had more people on their roster, and so the whole thing was just going to just collapse and become this kind of
Mm-hmm.
nothing job. And Rob Ryan, who no one really knows the story of, basically created products and technology that sped up the internet, made it more efficient, and made it what it is today. In
Okay.
fact, one of the things that's been amazing is we're talking on Zoom, and
Right. Mm-hmm.
Rob in the 80s created essentially sorry late 80s early 90s video conferencing for businesses. And so
Mm-hmm.
when the San Francisco earthquake happened, Rob's team of engineers were actually working from home on their computers, and they were also
Really?
streaming in and talking to each other in the way we are then back in the early 90s. And
Yeah.
so he really paved the way for where we are now, right now. And now, everyone knows about Steve Jobs and knows,
Right.
all these guys, but no one knows Rob's narrative. Uh, and it's a lovely, it was a real challenge, a wonderful film for me to do, and
Uh-huh.
tap into that kind of blue collar New York chip that Rob had, but trying to
Right.
make his way in California. I
Mm-hmm.
really loved trying to find that energy that he had, and it was a wonderful experience, and an honor to play a real person who's still alive.
Right. Yeah. Now that sounds very interesting. And that we
Yeah.
can get that now. Is that something
No,
that
that's so we just wrapped on that in the summer, and I
okay.
believe the edit will be done by the end of the first quarter, so like
Okay,
coming
that's
into
corner.
spring. But it
Yes.
will be, it'll be around. It'll be,
Yes.
and I'm
And
really excited about it coming out. Yeah.
you're the lead in that.
Yeah, I play Rob. Yeah.
Rob, oh well, yeah, that's very well. Congratulations! I know
Thank
that
you.
was a big, movie. I never
Yeah.
even heard of them. So,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think that's what's really, really cool about this narrative is that he's a guy that everyone knows the person who created the internet.
uh-huh.
No one really knows the person who made it what it is. And I
Right.
think so it's hopefully there'll be some interest, and it'll be a nice film. People
That
will enjoy
sounds,
it.
yeah, sounds very good. Yeah. But I want to thank you. I know our time is about up. I have another one coming up, but
All right.
thank you so much for talking to me.
It's a
Um,
pleasure, Joe.
yeah, and I'm looking for these movies. I want to be able to catch them, especially that's Christmas movie. I wish I could see it now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You got to get that. You got to
Yeah,
get that.
yeah, thank you. And so whatever, please make sure that I want to be able to speak to you again when you have some more things coming up.
All right, Joe.
Okay.
You take care. Yeah. Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too. Bye bye.
Take care.
Bye bye.
See you later.
Uh-huh. Bye bye.